And now, on with the show.
I am the middle child of the group. The group that started way back in college, and then somehow, if you're a Mel Robbins stan, you know, we survived the Great Scattering. And we're here now, bringing you the People I Tolerate podcast. The name came from our lovely group chat where throughout our monotonous 9 to 5 jobs, we go to escape and get away. To quite literally sometimes the only people that I can tolerate. Um, I'm so excited about this. Honestly, it's kind of a dream come true. I recently moved a couple hours away from Haley and Ben, so I've been struggling with that change and struggling to make sure that I'm prioritizing them and prioritizing my friendship with them in return. And so I really feel like this podcast is so amazing. It's going to be so great. Honestly, not to brag, but I think we're so funny and so cool and have great takes on a lot of stuff. And so I can't wait to share that with you guys and share our friendship with anyone who's listening. Um, I'm currently engaged to my favorite person in the world, equal to Haley and Ben. Just need to point that out. Scott. We have been together for 4 years, or it'll be 4 years in May. And we're getting married in November this year, which is so exciting. Haley, of course, my maid of honor, and Ben, my man of honor, bridesman. But I definitely honor Ben, and he honors me. We honor each other. Also, I have a little bit of a cold right now, so please don't cringe too hard at my voice if possible. Um, I can't wait for my wedding. Honestly, it's gonna be a movie, a major motion picture, Blu-ray DVD. You'll have to wait in line to get it. It's gonna be so fun. I have been planning it for quite a while. Because I've had such a long engagement, and every little detail I'm like really putting a lot of thought into, and it's gonna be so fun. I wanted it to feel very like one giant weekend away vacation with everyone I love and care about. So I think that's what it's gonna be. Honestly, I'm so excited. Um, it is gonna be really chill, I think, compared to a lot of weddings that are happening now. Um, my goodness, it's also storming here. How spooky. Love the vibes though. Um, in the Midwest, y'all, the weather has been crazy. We had a crazy winter and we were having a crazy spring. And my ceiling's leaking in my house. But that is a story for another time. Basically, don't buy a house without getting anything and everything inspected. I'm learning that now. I had to completely replace my sewage line, and that's a really great story that I think I'll wait to say until I'm talking with Haley and Ben because they were there, they witnessed it live, and I'll just give you a little sneak peek and say that we had shit water up to our ankles. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, yeah, so I own a house. That's a whole situation. I'm currently smack dab in the middle of my 20s, and that is something that sucks. Honestly, 20s are genuinely your best and worst years of your life. I stand by that statement. I have a little puppy dog. He is 4 years old, also, just like my relationship. And his name's Lieutenant. He's a long haired black German Shepherd, and he is literally me and a dog. Honestly, he has just as much, if not more, mental health issues. So we stand Ludi. He's the king. He also is a huge pain in the ass, but he's cute. and he kind of looks like a corgi because he's pretty small for a German Shepherd. He's only like 65 pounds, which, if you're familiar with the breed, they're usually kind of big dogs. He's nothing compared to Moose, which is Haley's little doggy. Um, yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. What does that even mean? Me in a nutshell. Like you're packaging me up like a little peanut and putting me inside of a nutshell. Speaking of peanuts, honestly, has anyone seen that Electric State movie with Millie Bobby Brown where it's like robots and stuff and there's a Mr. Peanut's robot in the movie and it's just a giant like branding or a giant like brand deal with the movie makers and Mr. Peanuts. It's kind of crazy because he has like that robot character has a huge role in the movie. It's kind of weird. Definitely check it out. It's a good movie though. It has Chris Pratt, I think, and Millie Bobby Brown, which I like Millie. I think she's really cute and fun and everything that I wish I was. So, check that movie out. I love movies. Honestly, I love movies. I love media in general. I'm a media fiend. But I get on these weird kicks where I only want to watch the same thing or listen to the same song or watch the same TV show over and over and over again. Is anyone out there a YouTube girly? I'm talking like going back to 2000 like 10 were you watching YouTube because I was. I'm so obsessed with YouTube. Um I also love to read. I'm a huge reader. Currently, I'm reading the last book in the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. It's pretty good. This last book, I feel like there's a lot going on, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Um, I love anything fantasy wise, so I'm talking A Court of Thorns and Roses. Throne of Glass is my favorite series. It's better than Game of Thrones. I will not be taking comments. I will not be taking comments. Um, yeah, I love to read. Obviously, I'm a Hunger Games girly through and through. I grew up through that era. And what a privilege. Let me just say, what a privilege to grow up during Hunger Games because I went to every single one of those movie midnight releases. And every time the books came out, I devoured them. Like, I'm talking stayed up all night with a flashlight under a blanket. And when my mom came to check on me, like, pretended like I was asleep. Honestly, changed my life. I still to this day will watch the Hunger Games movies all the time. And honestly, Divergent too. I tried with the Maze Runner, but I couldn't really get into it. No offense. I do love Dylan O'Brien. I was a Teen Wolf girl. Let me just get that out of there as well. I was a Teen Wolf girly. The show, the MTV hit show. MTV made some good shows back then. I don't really know if they even are things still, honestly, with streaming, but yeah. I also love to write. I've actually written the first draft of a romantic fantasy book. But I'm definitely having imposter syndrome and don't know what to do with it at this point. I've been just kind of stalling by editing and re-editing the book, but I need to send it to somebody or something. I don't know. I've always wanted to write a book, so I was like, I guess I'll just write it. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. I'm also very multifaceted because I love Formula One racing. Huge Lewis Hamilton stan. Scarlet Ferrari, I'm all about it. If you ask a little kid to draw a car and color it in, they're gonna color it red. That's all I have to say about that. My number one enemy in Formula One would definitely be Christian Horner. Can't stand him. He is married to a Spice Girl, which gives him a tiny bit of aura back, but not even because it's her aura. You know what I'm saying? Is it aura or ar? No, it's aura. Oh my god. I almost just sounded so stupid. Oh gosh. I also love to sew and like draw and be crafty and fun and yeah, I'm constantly like moving through hobbies, creative ones especially. Um I want to talk about my goals in life, but I want to talk about them and like give you like a whole situation. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, my fiance and I were like, let's do this fun little exercise. So I saw this on TikTok. Because if anyone else is like so sick and tired of like this overconsumption that is taking over our lives, raise your hand. Okay. Everyone's hands are raised. I thought so. So, this exercise is so good if you find yourself kind of falling victim to that, because I definitely do. I'm aware of it and I still fall victim. I just love ordering things online and getting them in my door and smiling. Um, so I saw this exercise where you basically, you and your partner, or you by yourself, or you and a friend, or whatever, sit down and write the top 20 things that you want to do in life. And these are things that if you do them, these 20 things, you will die happy. Like you will feel so fulfilled in life. And so we did this exercise. We each wrote them down separately and then we compared and talked about them. Ben and Haley are blowing up my phone. So sorry. Um I'm trying to record, guys. So anyways, we did this and it was so cool because we had a lot of things that overlapped that surprised me, and also it confirmed how great Scott is, because of course his goals were like buy Eve her dream car. I'm like, boy, that's so sweet. I'm a sim for him. He's so great. Anyways, yeah, so some of my goals, for example, were like things that are attainable, as in like I'm already attaining them. Like get married. That was one of my goals. Um, Go out of the country. I'm actually going to Ireland in a couple weeks, so I'm gonna check that one right off. Another one was in 20 years renew my vows. Or, and they can also be materialistic goals. Like one of mine was to buy a houseboat. Like I want to be that woman who has a houseboat and everybody comes and visits and it's so fun. So they can be that. It's just about reframing your mind to like really remember the things that are super important to you, and remembering like, okay, do I need to buy this thing or do this thing that costs this money? And then you can like have somewhere to go back to and reference, like, is this aligning with my goals? And if it's not, then no, let's move on. Let's move on from that. If it is, great. You're one step closer to achieving that goal. So, those are just like I sprinkled in a few of my goals, but that's something that I would recommend everybody do if you feel like you're struggling. Maybe like with finances, or like having a budget and sticking to it. I think that is helpful too. Or just like if you're feeling so much all this noise that's surrounding us and you need something to help you um quiet the noise down. Turn the volume down. Turn beat around. Hear those clicky clacky nails? That would be Lieutenant. Lieutenant. He said hi. um, and that kind of leads me into that's important to me, and that's important for me to encourage people, especially my peers, because being in your 20s is so hard, and that's I think a big element of it. But um, that's other things that are really important to me are friends and family, specifically creating your own family from friends. And honestly, just like I feel like I have so many people in my life that have no reason that they have to be there for me or have this really nice relationship with me, but they do it anyways because the relationship we've built is so strong. Um, that's kind of like Marcy, who is basically a very motherly figure to me. She's very parental. She helped raise me for like the last 10 years of my childhood, and she is honestly the greatest person I know in my life. But found family and just family in general is so important. Friends are so important. They're honestly, I think, like the one thing that will always keep you from spiraling. Um, and then also, I really think it's important to enjoy the day-to-day moments. If you're one of those people who watches YouTube like I do, you probably know who Alfie Days is. He's a British YouTuber and he makes really good content about this kind of stuff. And something I picked up from him that I really liked and I'm going to share is um, the theory of normally everyone is living their life looking forward to something. Like you're living your days with the thought of an event, a vacation, I don't know, some time off work you've scheduled. Just you're living your life for these big moments or like a holiday or whatever. And because of that, you're writing off all of the days in between and you're just trying to get through them as quick as possible. You're not enjoying them, you're not prioritizing them, you don't care about them. And the problem with that is when you look at your life from a bird's eye view, the amount of days where you have these really exciting, crazy things happening, it's such a small percentage. So it's so important for the in between days to feel just as special and as important as those because life is so fleeting and time is so fleeting and moves so quickly that if you can find a way, and I mean, I haven't even found this yet because this is obviously something that I struggle with, but if you can try and make a more conscious effort to really enjoy every single day, um, I think that you're going to really unlock that mindset of joy and happiness and fulfillment and contentment in life. And if you honestly, not even if you, every single one of you, if you have not seen the movie About Time, need to watch it. It's so good and it literally is this concept wrapped in a movie and it's so good. Um and Bill Nye, I think his name is, he's in Love Actually and honestly, he's such a good actor. So definitely check it out, but basically the whole premise of the movie, this is kind of spoilers, is like this guy can go back in time and he kind of figures out the secret is okay, he's going to live every day like normal and then he'll go back in time and relive it, but this time reliving it as if he went back in time for that specific day for some reason. And eventually he gets to this point where he doesn't even need to go back in time each of the days because he's already living as if he purposely got a time machine, built a time machine, and went back to relive that day, which is just such a profound thing and way to think about life. So I love that. Definitely think about that. Um, and then just to wrap this up, I just really wanted to say that to me, Haley and Ben are two of the most amazing people. Haley is the most emotionally intelligent person I've ever met and is so caring and giving and kind. And I feel so freaking lucky to get to be her best friend. And Ben is so intelligent. He's such a people pleaser. I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to say people pleaser. I'm going to say people person. I'm so dead. He's going to kill me. I'm like, Ben is such a people pleaser. No. Ben is such a people person and he's so resilient. He's been through so much in his life and he always has a smile on his face. And not only that, he's always putting aside his own things he's dealing with to deal with yours. Which maybe that's not healthy, but he does it anyways and it's so amazing. I love them. I can't wait for you to get to know them more. And get to know me more. Um, this podcast is going to be so great. It's going to be so great for anyone who's so sick and tired of influencers and what they've become. I kind of think they've become the next monster. Um, and they don't talk about anything real. I crave relationships with people that are real and relatable and that are talking about things I actually am going through. So that is what this is going to be, hopefully. And if you enjoy it, I really hope you'll stick around and maybe, just maybe, you will become one of the people that I tolerate.
Hey y'all, my name is Ben. I am a 25-year-old out of Louisville, Kentucky. I was born and raised here in Louisville, but I've moved around a lot, which we'll get into here in a minute. But welcome to the Pit Pod. Welcome to the people I tolerate. Welcome to the introduction of our group chat. our text group chat. It is called The People I Tolerate. So that is where this all stemmed from, even though having a podcast, that idea came up, I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Right in the same phone call where we were all planning a cruise. So if that tells you anything about our group, we're pretty chaotic. Um, but like a cruise, stuff like that, like we're old now. We don't have college money where we literally pay $300 in rent and the rest is for alcohol, food, and God knows what else. So yeah, I'm 25. I am a gay man. I feel like I come out to a new group of people at least once a year, but I don't know. I've never been like chastised for that. I don't know if chastised is the right word, because I come off very straight. And when we start doing videos, you will see what I'm talking about. Um, I wear Carhartt. I'm decently put together, but definitely have like a straight man's wardrobe. Um, that's kind of a little bit about me. I have a younger sibling. Um, both my parents, who I currently live in the basement of. Shout out Nashville. Um, I'll get into that here in a minute too. Both my parents live together, are still together, I guess. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get into, I don't know. Let's start with my hobbies. I used to put on my hobbies that I loved golf, and I can't tell you the last time that I was on a golf course, even though I grew up playing. I am kind of a homebody. I am a homebody. Let's not put the kind of word in there. I love TV shows, movies. I'm not really a book person. That's where Haley and Eve come in. They kind of balance me out on that. But like Severance, for example, is something I've like recently watched where I started as season three was going on, and I could just roll right into season three. Ted Lasso is another one. What else am I watching right now? I used to be a Grey's person. It got too drawn out. Um, but I love hanging out with my friends. I love doing game nights. I love lake weekends. I'm currently coming out of my seasonal depression now that I can hear the birds chirping and the sun comes out. Well, tries to come out. The last couple weeks have been horrible. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. I do like bourbon. I like hot browns. I love Catan. I'm gonna get wrecked for how I said that. Either way, one of them's right. I just don't know which one. Um, and then I guess I'll kind of get into what I don't know what drives me to wanting to do a podcast. I'm not a podcast person to begin with. I don't listen to podcasts very often. Um, I'm I don't know. I can yap all day long, but something that people that Haley and Eve put me onto were Brittany, Drew, and Caleb, and I laughed my ass off, truly. And that's kind of like I don't know. That's kind of what I want this podcast to be, and kind of the platform of just I want people to have fun when they're listening to us or they're watching, but I want it to be interactive. I want people to feel safe in what we're talking about, but also feel a little vulnerable because we're going to get vulnerable. Um, get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's my words of advice for you today. Um, so my goals in life. Let's switch back to me a little bit because I'm chaotic as hell. You'll see that as this goes on. I am the king of chaos. I actually had an HR professional. That's what I'll call her. Even though I love this person, she's amazing. She looked at me one day and said, "Ben, you like when you come around, you make me feel chaotic." And I was like, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or concerning, but I am who I am. I'll come off really bubbly to people. We'll come back to the goals. I know I just said that I would do that. I come off really bubbly to people, and a lot of people like don't know the struggles I deal with of like depression, anxiety. Like I'm medicated. My medication really helps. I'm in therapy, but I come off as this like confident, happy person a lot of the times. When really deep down, like I'm struggling and I'm on the verge of a crash out at least like 4 times a day. There's a commonality between me, Haley, and Eve. We're all on the verge of a crash out at least 3 to 4 times a day. Um, we all deal with imposter syndrome, whether we admit that openly or not, because we're all very successful individuals, and I'm very proud of both of my sisters, Haley and Eve. Um, but yeah, so like, I think that's where the vulnerability piece is going to come in, is like, we all have different like perspectives, we all have different views on like life, society, ways of life, but we all have a little bit of trauma, and everybody has trauma. I think some people, they either, I don't know, it's a scale of like you're knee deep in your trauma or you don't want to face it at all. And I really hope that this podcast can kind of be like middle base. And this podcast is um, not meant to be dark and dreary, but there will be moments where I hope we can be in the middle of that scale. Because me, Haley, Eve, we've all three of us have worked really hard to be who we are and be as successful as we are today. Um, Eve and Haley are very intelligent. Like I said, they read the books. I I don't know, they were an inspiration for me to finish college, if I'm being honest. And they are probably going to learn that that is a fact the first time that they listen to this, because I hated school. But I didn't want to be, I don't know, our group of friends. I've failed classes, but I took summer courses to make up for it, and like I don't know, a lot of our friends, everyone around me was really smart, but I was a 2.8 GPA kid. I didn't care. There were bigger problems, bigger things in the world that I wanted to accomplish, and that I guess that kind of brings me into like my goals a little bit. Um, I talk a big game. That's another thing you all are gonna learn. For hmm, I think the last 5 years, I've always told people that I am going to audition for The Voice. I grew up as your typical gay kid would that didn't know they were gay, doing choir, doing like theater, things of that nature. I did band in high school with Haley. We'll get into that here in a minute. Um, but yeah, I really moved away from it when I got, I guess, middle school, when I had a lot of bullying going on in my life and tried to end all things that were, you know, whatever. So I've really like grown up, and like as I look back and like look back on those moments, like I have so much free will. Adulting sucks, don't get me wrong. Adulting is expensive. Uh, there's so much more responsibility. And I say that as I'm sitting in my parents' basement right now because I'm not in the financial position to get a house yet. But I'm tired of renting. For example, for 2 years that I lived in Nashville, that'll be my segue into Nashville. I spent close to $40,000 in rent, and it all just went down the drain. I have nothing to show for that $40,000 except for my independence and like getting to live with one of my best friends, Brody, for a year. So, yeah, Nashville. Let's get into it. I went to school at Western with Haley and Eve. Got my degree, went and worked in tech sales, hated sales. Loved Nashville for the first year. It got old quick. It got expensive quick. Um, for example, like one year I was at a New Year's party and I should have just stayed the night at one of my very good friends' houses, but I decided to Uber home at 3 in the morning, and it was $120 to get home. Um, so yeah, it's a very expensive city. It's fun for tourists and it's fun to visit. I hated living there by the end of it. And actually, it's been a year since I left Nashville. Woohoo! I'm now in a big boy position, I feel like. A lot of the people I work with, they are on the cusp of getting married or they have kids. I started as a technician for business to business tech support. I can't say slowly because I've only been there 9 months and I've been promoted like 3 times, I think. I'm now an account manager with 20 plus accounts under my belt, that I, do the 55,000 view up in the air kind of planning. Um, Sorry, I'm having a little glass of bourbon. Um, so that's a little bit about my career. I very much have imposter syndrome for where I'm at today, but you would never know of the struggles that I go through on daily or the crash outs because, again, everyone at work, like I come off as the most bubbly person. And I love it that way. Like, not to say I'm a different person in those scenarios because I'm not, but I don't know. It's nice to. I've always said work was kind of an escape from my brain. Even growing up, working at what I call the family deli, but my family doesn't own it. They're family adjacent for several reasons, and I love them. But I worked there in high school. It's a liquor store too. And then when I moved back home a year ago, I worked there for 3 or 4 months trying to find a job. Because when I left my tech sales job, I had nothing planned. I just needed to get out of that, and I needed to get out of Nashville. Um, so yeah, um, things that are important to me are just like, I don't know, choosing the right people to be in your life because there's a lot of things out of our control in the world, and choosing who to give your time, your energy, yourself to, um, is part of that free will. Why waste it? Like, why waste your time? Why waste your energy? Like, so people that are important to me, like my family, which some of them think I'm crazy, and I am. And if you're listening to this, I'm I'm crazy. So I'll never apologize for that either. Let me just put that out there. Um, but I have different views and different approaches to things. Let's put it that way. Different approaches to things than some of my family does, and there's some hard disagreements there at times. Then you have your chosen family: Haley, Eve, Brody. Um, they're probably my closest. Natalie's out there. Shout out Natalie. Shout out Brody. Um, I get to choose these people to be in my life, and they've chosen to let me be a part of their wonderful journeys that we're all going through because we're all in our mid 20s. Woohoo, yeah. Please, God, bring me my 30s. They say the 30s are the new 20s, and that's what I need in my life at this point. Um, Another thing that's important to me is helping people and getting to see people succeed. I am a big proponent of I want to be a propeller for people, if I can be. Now, I never want to get in the way or take over something for somebody. I want to help them walk to the water so they can walk to the water themselves the next time. That's kind of how I see it. That's um, how I perception, something like that. Um, let's get into individuals here that are part of this magnificent group of people you all are going to get to know very well. Let's start off with Haley. Haley and I have been friends for 10 years. We are very similar but very different at the same time. We have different backgrounds, we have different interests, different hobbies, but we also have a lot of common interests and common hobbies, and um, we're both very big, and Eve is also very big on this of just like giving ourselves more grace, and being more welcoming of who we are now and in the moment versus who we want to be and who we chase after being. Um, because life is short. We only get one chance at a spot on this big circling orb in the middle of space. We are peons. We are specks of dust. And also, nothing matters. Absolutely nothing matters. Money's a concept. Time you can't get back. Just remember that. But anyways, back to Haley. Sister to me. Went to high school. We were in band together. She is one smart cookie. She's here. I'm gonna give y'all stories for each of these people. So Haley's gonna give you the full story of this, because there's a pen cap story associated to this class that we were in together. It was advanced chemistry. She'll correct me if I'm wrong in our next pod, but our next segment. She literally let me cheat off of her. This is out in the open now. I've already got my degree. She has her degree. So if our high schools want to bring back our diplomas, do what you will. But she let me cheat off of her. Guess who still failed the class? I did. Haley's very selfless. Haley's a people pleaser at heart, which is a amazing trait, but it can be a very detrimental trait at times too. But we all kind of balance each other out. Haley, don't forget the pen cap story. Then there's Eve. Eve is, if I was straight, my wife. I still don't know if it makes her fiance uncomfortable when I say that. I definitely know it makes him uncomfortable when I say I'm gonna object at the wedding, but I digress. Eve and I met on a 4th of July many moons ago. And when I say many moons, I think it's been 6 years, Eve. She'll correct me on that too, at some point. And I hope she does. I hope they both correct me on a lot of the things that I talk about, because I'm all over the damn place. But we met at a 4th of July in a small town in western Kentucky called Elkton. Shout out Landon, if you know, you know. Our friendship blossomed from there. Haley and Eve were very close, and Eve was a friend of Haley's at first and became a very, very good friend and a family member to me soon thereafter. A story with Eve. Me and her are very similar. We can both be very hard-headed, and we both have very large personalities and dominating personalities. She won't get mad at me for saying that because we literally talked about it on the phone the other day. There was a night, and I'm not going to give you all the context yet, where we got in almost a knockdown drag out. We were like 2 inches away from each other at 11 o'clock in the backyard of Haley's rental house in college, ready to throw down. And luckily we walked away, and we're still friends today, and I I laugh about it now because like it proves how similar we are, because neither of us were willing to back down, and I think I gave in. Yeah, I think I folded. Um, but Eve and I, like, she brings me so much joy, her and Haley both. And I think that's where this podcast really like comes in, because we are three peas in a pod. I know people say two peas in a pod. I could care less what anyone's feelings are. But I think that's where this platform is really gonna like you're gonna get to know us really well. You're gonna get to know us individually really well, based on our perspectives and our views and what we talk about in our segments. But you're also gonna get to know our dynamic as a group and how much of a powerhouse we are, because we balance each other out so well. Like, we're essentially bringing our phone calls to a podcast for the world, which might be a little, we're going to do some censoring there. I don't know that I've dropped the F-bomb yet, but I'm sure it will come. Um, but I really I don't know. I have really high hopes for this, and I hope it goes somewhere. I never want to be famous, but I hope it goes somewhere. And we're doing the damn thing. That's 90% of it. Because I'm a big talker. I talk a big game, but going through with things has been a struggle of mine sometimes. I think I get that from my sales mentality of when I was a decent salesperson. I try not to BS people anymore because I get no, and I don't know. It's not even about me. I don't back then. It was helping me live. It was giving me a means to live. But that's not who I am, and I think that's what really drove me away from it. Besides having unimaginable goals. Um, one of the podcasts that really got me, I wouldn't say hooked because I'm still not a podcast person, but I can yap for days. Just give me like one sentence and I'll yap about it for an hour. Drew, Brittany, and Caleb. I was like laying in bed watching it and I was dying laughing. Like that's the vibe I want. And like we're gonna be unhinged. We're gonna be crazy. Um, but I'm genuinely excited for this because I think we all have a lot to bring to the table, and I'm really hoping we have a really interested audience, and it kind of opens dialogue for others to talk about things like when we get vulnerable or when we have like a hot take. One thing I'm gonna dang, I've been talking a lot here. So I'm gonna give you all my final meals if I were like on death row. So I'm gonna give you breakfast, lunch, drink, dessert, beverage, adult beverage. Biscuits and gravy for breakfast. Hands down. I'm not gonna say the place because we're not sponsored by them yet. I'm really hoping to get a sponsorship and some free biscuits and gravy. For lunch, we're doing a panini, not a panini, but like a patty melt. But I want like a jalapeno peach jam. Ooh, some fresh kettle chips, and a Diet Coke, a crisp DC. And then for dinner, oh, this was kind of like raunchy. I want Bob Evans mac and cheese. I want crazy bread from Little Caesars, and then I think I want a hot brown pizza. Won't tell you where from because again we're not sponsored by them yet, but that's coming. For dessert, you can go ahead and just pick up the entire display case of cheesecakes from Cheesecake Factory. Not sponsored, but they're a big enough name. I don't think we'll ever see them come in. If we do, I'll go do this. Pick up the entire cheesecake display, put it in front of me, and let me pick 10 slices. My adult beverage will be bourbon, but it's going to be a very high class bourbon that I can sip with a little ice, a little bourbon on the rocks. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. I am excited to get into our segments. I'm excited to do this together. I'm excited to get on video. We have no clue what we're doing, so bear with us. Um, but this is the People I Tolerate podcast with the people that I tolerate. Love y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon. And peace out.
All right. Podcast take one. It's Haley here. How's everybody doing? Moose, come here. Would you like to say hello? Oh, wow. Thank you. If you guys don't know, that is my child. I am a mother of a Great Pyrenees. He's 4 years old. His name is Moose. So if you hear anything in the background, hear any sniffing or barking, that kind of vibe, that would be my son. Yes. Hi. I know. Thank you. I did carry him in my womb for 9 months. Not to be dramatic, but yeah, I do treat him
like he's my child. I'm 24 years old. I'm very close to being 25. I'm basically 25. Like, my birthday is like a month away, and I'm gonna be a quarter of a century old. I feel like everyone kind of has an existential crisis when they are about to turn 25. I feel like, I don't know, your 20s are very weird as far as where everyone is in life. Trying to navigate that is weird. So, I am very lucky though. I'm one of the last in my friend group to turn 25. I have a late birthday. So that's always fun to kind of watch them go through that first and kind of get some wisdom from them. So that's always been how I handle it. I don't know. I'm not one of those like girls that like age scares me. Like, I'm actually really excited to kind of age, well, I don't know if you can call it gracefully, but like I am so excited to like be in my 30s. Like, I actually cannot wait to be out of my 20s. Like, I feel like I just want to be at the point where I'm like so sure of myself, and I feel like your 20s are just a weird place and you're still trying to figure everything out. So yeah, that's how I feel about turning 25 soon. I'm fine with it. It doesn't really bother me. I feel like I like to pretend that it does, but honestly, it really doesn't. But I'm a Taurus, so that's exciting. Taurus season is about to happen. I wouldn't consider astrology one of my hobbies. Like, I don't feel like I'm a big astrology girl. I do, however, identify with a lot of the traits and qualities that are associated with a Taurus. Like, being kind of stubborn, and like their animal sign is like a bull, so I feel like sometimes I can kind of be a little stubborn. Like, the introvertedness, the homebodiness, the like loves food, the like materialistic items, but also is very grounded. Like, as much as I love to shop and love to buy clothes and love to like splurge on like dinners or like snacks or like that kind of thing, I do feel like I am a very grounded person, and I've always kind of been that way. I've always kind of seen things just very level-headedly and logically, and I don't feel like I'm very rash. I'm a graphic designer. I have an art director title. I don't really like using it. So I say that I'm a graphic designer at a printing company here in town. Which is accurate. That's accurate. I feel very much the imposter syndrome of like having an art director title. This is my first job right out of college, and I've been here for almost 3 years, but the first 6 months I was there, I started in their e-commerce department, which is very much just like building digital storefronts and working with some coding and like troubleshooting issues that go wrong with printing and like that kind of thing. It taught me a lot and I learned a lot, and I'm very thankful that I did have that time in that department. And I think it takes something like that, like for a creative person like me. I don't know. I didn't hate it. I was a little miserable, but I think it takes that to kind of appreciate the growth. And now I'm really appreciative of how I've grown in the company. Significantly quickly. End goal, I would love to end up at a creative ad agency somewhere. I would love to work on campaigns for like big brands, whether it's helping with copywriting or graphic design, or I don't know. I love the collaborative environment of getting to bounce ideas off of other people And I feel like I really thrive in that kind of scenario. I do, speaking of copywriting, I do love to read and write as well. I don't write as much as I probably should or would like to, but that used to be a big part of my life, especially growing up. I tend to bottle up a lot of my emotions, and after years and years of therapy, I'm trying obviously not to do that anymore. So now I do journal sometimes, but I used to write a lot of poetry and read a lot of poetry. I still read some, but I would love to get back into writing more books. I love all kinds of books. I love fantasy. I love self-help books. I'm currently reading Mel Robbins' Let Them Theory book. I'm also currently doing a self-compassion workbook that my therapist recommended to me. So I'm on a big self-help journey right now, just trying to heal the parts of myself that are kind of broken. So, would you consider therapy a hobby or an interest? That's one of my hobbies. No, I mean, yeah, but what else? Oh, I love to junk journal. I'm a big junk journal girl. It's one of my more recent hobbies. So, for those of you that don't know, junk journaling, you basically collect like little things throughout your day, like receipts or like fruit stickers from fruit that you eat, or like it can be anything, literally anything, like part of a shopping bag from like a trip, or like a ticket from something, and you just kind of like put things together in a journal. It's almost kind of like scrapbooking. Excuse me, I burped, sorry. It's almost like scrapbooking, but in a very like chill, relaxed, kind of not as presentative type of way. So I've been really into that lately and loving that. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog like lapping and like at his bone. So hold on one second, please. I don't know. I feel like one of the biggest goals that I have in life is to just be the best version of myself and to just be happy. And I know that sounds really generic, but I do think there's a lot of hard work that goes into just being happy. I really struggled with internalizing a lot of my problems, and I'm trying really hard not to do that now as an adult, because it just leads to your other relationships being really unhealthy. And I don't know, I think that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for everyone. You may think oh my god, this is getting dark. This is getting so dark. You can like seem really happy, and people think, oh my god, you are like so joyous and you are always excited about things, and which can be true, but two things can exist at the same time, where like behind closed doors, maybe you're really struggling with, beating yourself up or not being nice to yourself about a lot of things, about I don't know. I don't want to get into this right now. Time and place for sure. We will dive back into that, I'm sure. But no, yeah, I think I really value emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, and I work really hard to regulate my emotions. And I really encourage the people in my life and people I have relationships with to do the same. So, I think everyone can benefit from therapy, whether you have childhood trauma or not. Like, my parents got divorced when I was 11, and so a lot of my time growing up has been spent trying to, I don't want to say undoing the damage, because that sounds like, I don't know, like I'm putting, it's part of it though, it's just life. So it's just, I don't blame anyone. I think that when you're a parent, you just do the best that you can with the best that you have. I mean, same, I'm not a parent, and that's also just how I tackle everyday life. So it's just mostly for me about forgiving my past self for doing the best I could with the tools I had at that time, if that makes sense. So I think there's a lot of power and strength in giving yourself grace. And I think life's way too short to hold on to anger or grudges or negative energy. So I don't know. There's my woo woo moment. Which is, I mean, that's a big reason why we wanted to start this, right? And have those conversations. I think there's nothing more meaningful than spending quality time with people you love and being vulnerable with them. And there's a lot of strength in that too, about opening your heart and sharing things that you might not feel comfortable sharing otherwise. That's another big reason for me why I wanted to start doing this too, is because this whole setting makes me really uncomfortable. It makes me, sorry, that's my dog laying down in his crate. Putting himself to bed. No. But I feel really uncomfortable in settings like these where I have to be more vocal about how I'm feeling or what my opinions are. A lot of times I tend to keep those things to myself because I just assume that no one wants to hear them, or I assume that I don't have anything meaningful to add to the conversation, or I assume just a lot of probably negative things. But like I said, I'm on this journey to not only better myself, but also to encourage my friends to do things that scare them and make them uncomfortable, because I'm a big believer in that's how you grow. You have to push yourself outside of that comfort zone to experience growth. And I think this is a great opportunity, not only for us to stay in contact while we are being long distance friends, but also to encourage each other and be there for each other in a very relatable and public way. I mean, these people to me are like family. They're not even friends at this point. Ben, I have known since freshman year of high school. We met freshman year of high school, and Ben has seen me through every phase in my life thus far. And no matter what choice I've made, no matter what decision that I've made, he has not only been there for me, but supported me. And I honestly cannot thank him enough. He's like a brother to me at this point. Like, his family is my family, vice versa. His little sister is like a little sister to me. I think a lot of times in high school and in college, there's a lot of people just like coming and going from your life just based off, proximity or interests or hobbies that you outgrow, or, just it's part of life. And Ben has just always been a constant for me in every phase or walk of life that I have gone through. So I'm really appreciative of that. And I don't take that lightly. Like, he's genuinely my longest friend, probably, besides our other friend, Natalie. But Natalie, shout out, love you. But yes, Ben and I met actually at band camp, at marching band camp. We were band nerds together. So when I tell you that he has seen me through every phase of life, I genuinely mean that. Like, every single phase. And Ben and I went to college together. We ended up picking the same university, and I met Eve there. We actually lived on the same floor in our dorm, Eve and I, and it was funny, we didn't really talk much at all, like, when we lived on the same floor, Long story short, they found mold in our dorm, so we had to like evacuate our dorm and all move out. And Eve and I had the same major, so we were in a lot of classes together too. So I saw her a lot throughout campus and stuff. And we ended up joining like an after school club for our major. It was like an advertising. We both were advertising majors, so we joined this advertising club. And I would see her there, and I would always be kind of intimidated by her in class. Like, I'd be scared to talk to her. And we had a mutual friend. She knew this girl that I also knew, and we all started talking in this club. And he was like, "You seem really fun. You should like go out with us one night." And then Eve and I partied together, and the rest is kind of a history. She got me a job during COVID. I had like $200 to my name, and I was like, "I need a job. I'm desperate. Please help." And she was like, "Yeah, come work with me." And then we worked together literally all summer, spent every day together at this little print shop, like printing posters and putting frames together and shipping them out and whatnot. And we were both at that point in our life where neither one of us really had anybody else. We were both single. We were both kind of just getting out of rocky situations with like other friends that had happened. And so we just we needed each other. And we had a lot in common. We both had divorced parents and grew up with that kind of trauma, and we both liked a lot of the same things and were into the same stuff, and we still are, and we hit it off. And she's like literally the sister that I never had, and it feels very permanent. It feels more than a friend at this point. And I don't know, with both of them, I just know that they are people that I'm meant to have in my life. And they do a really good job of just always encouraging me to speak my mind, even when I don't want to, or when I feel like I don't have the right to. They're always a safe place for me to come back to. And I appreciate that a lot. They have also always just been people that really have seen me. Like, they always get where I'm coming from. I never have to explain myself to them. I think there's a lot of value in that too. They're just my people. And that's how I see it. Also, I feel bad. I feel like this whole entire thing, this was just like 20 minutes of like a sap fest. Like, I was just so sappy the whole time. I promise I'm not always this serious. But I don't know. I think that this is a big reason why we wanted to do this whole podcast, was like to have those meaningful conversations with one another, and like I said, encourage each other to get outside of our comfort zones. And I'm really excited. I'm excited for you guys to get to know each one of us as individuals. And I just feel like as a group, we're kind of just like a force to be reckoned with. Like, I feel like we can do anything we put our mind to. We're a really good team. I feel like whatever one person lacks, the other two kind of make up for, which is why we work so well together. And we all three have worked employment-wise, legally, like together in the same proximity with one another. So that's also been helpful too. But yeah, I want to end by this quote that I found by Woodrow Wilson, and it says, "Friendship is the only cement that will hold the world together." And I think that there's so much weight to that. Like, family, I'm a family girl. I love my family. But there almost feels like sort of an obligation that is tied to that. And I think friendship is so invaluable because there's no obligation. There's no like having to mend anything. You just do it purely because you want to, and you love those people, and you believe in them, and you back them. And I just could not say enough positive things about Eve and Ben both. And just really appreciative of everything that they've done for me. So that's all I have. I'm really excited. They're the people I tolerate. So I love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.